My name is Joseph, and this is my wife, Mary. We are really touched that Dominic asked us to share a few words about how Christ's real presence in the Eucharist influences our lives and marriage.
We were married on July 20th in 2019, and when we moved to the area shortly afterwards and were looking for a parish, we were struck by how integral the Eucharist is to the parish life here at St. Michael's. One of the things that stood out to us the most was the Adoration Chapel. This struck us so much because the Eucharist has always been a central part of our relationship.
We were engaged on Christmas of 2018 at the Cathedral of St. Joseph the Workman in Wisconsin. Following midnight Mass, we are praying together in the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, and it is there that I asked Mary to spend the rest of our lives journeying to Christ together in marriage. We both strongly desired to be in the presence of Christ as we embarked on the next step in our relationship.
We often reflect on how beautiful it is that there can be such extraordinary love in the most ordinary things. In our everyday lives, it is easy to unconsciously think that the things in the day-to-day don't really matter, because they seem so ordinary, whether it is going to work in the morning, making dinner together, or even folding laundry. However, as Christ gives himself to us under the appearances of ordinary bread, we can give ourselves to each other with extraordinary love through the simplest things.
Since marriage is a reflection of the love of the Trinity, what better way to learn how to reflect that love than to spend time with Christ in the Eucharist? When we go to adoration and reflect on the overflowing love of Christ for us, we long to imitate that love in every moment, no matter how ordinary. The more we open our hearts to receive Christ's love, the more we can allow Christ to shine through our marriage.
We have found that the more we are united with Christ, the more we are united to each other. Because our connection with each other is rooted in Christ, we savor the beautiful moments immediately following communion. When we receive Christ into our very being in the Eucharist, we feel a special closeness to each other that words cannot describe.
We strive to live our lives in such a way that the time we spend in adoration is not disconnected from everyday life, but rather an integral part of it. Going to Mass in adoration isn't just something that we do and then revert back to our day-to-day lives afterward. We really want to, in a real way, bring the fruits of adoration into our marriage and daily lives. One of the ways we do this is by having a little chapel in our home.
At our apartment, we wanted to set aside a special space where we could go to pray. However, we kept waiting for several months for everything in the apartment to be organized and for there to be room. We eventually realized that we had to intentionally make room by clearing out one of our closets and transforming it into a chapel. We had thought we needed the storage space for other things, but when we made it into a chapel, we realized that the space for prayer was far more important.
The same is true for going to adoration or setting aside time for prayer. There is almost always the temptation that we don't have enough time or other things need to get done first. But we have always found that when we go to adoration and set aside time for prayer, we get everything done, and not only that, but we do so filled with more peace and joy than we otherwise would have.
The peace and joy of the Eucharist in our life is what transforms our marriage into an amazing journey together with Christ. That is something more beautiful than we could have ever imagined.
We're really thankful to have had this opportunity to share a part of our story with you, and would like to conclude by sharing a quote from St. Jose Maria Escriva that has been an inspiration in our life. "There is something holy, something divine, that is hidden in the most ordinary situations, and it is up to each one of you to discover it."